Runda, can you hit us with a rapid fire idea?
Okay, I'm gonna start with the question: who has ever lent out their stuff to anyone ever?
Yeah. Yeah, money and things.
Yeah, because there's so much stuff that's like being lended out and then borrowed by people every day, whether if it's like tools, notes, books, or even money. Sometimes all we really think about is they kind of have to either write it down or put it in their calendar reminder on their iPhones until the very end of the day that it's time to return the stuff. You might just end up with like endless text messages with your buddies trying to reschedule time to collect on that thing that they owe you on. And with all this awkwardness, I smell opportunity. So the easiest way for me to think about like a fintech app is just create a stuff lending app. I'm gonna call it the Spotter. So with the Spotter, as individuals, you can create a public profile, or maybe it's like friends view, and you would populate this profile with a list of stuff that you own yourself that's available for your friends to borrow. Maybe like for free at like a 2 to 4 weeks range or whatever, however you set it. And then if someone returns it late, they'll have to pay interest that's automatically charged. So in order to sign up, you have to put in an invalidated credit card or like put in credits at first into this app to validate your profile. And then if someone hasn't returned their stuff for over 3 months, the borrowing party will have to immediately pay up the full market value that's already prearranged within the app to validate your profile. So it's actually that kind of automated smart contract, but in the form of the app, because every day I feel like my sweater is probably all gone by all the past girlfriends. But now there's also a way that would probably do up the campaign content and the narrative of this tagline, which is wealth in your network. So playing on this phrase of your network is your net worth, this app is like the little manifestation of that, where the more friends that you know, the more stuff that you'll have access to. You'll never really have to really buy like a lawnmower realistically, because you would just always borrow your friends at like 2 day period at a time whenever you need it. Or maybe someone has a chainsaw, and then instead of calling an arborist, you can just like get the chainsaw. There's just a lot of marketing opportunities from this app perspective. I can just like easily think of all the content that you can make all day with it.
So it's an interesting concept insofar as I would love to have an inventory of all my stuff. And if I am nice enough to, and I trust my friends enough, right? Like I'm happy to have them borrow it. And right, if they don't return it, then we have a way to kind of get some of that back. For me, the interesting challenge here would be I'm lending out my stuff. Obviously, I'm on this application, so I'm lending out my stuff a lot, right, to people. If it were just a one-off, a two-off, then I wouldn't need an application for that, right? I would need to have like a threshold of stuff lending to need this application. To the point where if I go to Jim and I ask to borrow his lawnmower and he's like, yeah, I need you to sign up for this application. I need you to put your credit card in. I need you to go through all of these steps. All of a sudden I was like, I could just go to Home Depot and rent this thing if it's a problem. Is this a problem? Right? And so managing that narrative and that storytelling around why you should do this and not just be a business, right? Like if we're going after the casual, I'm lending out a toolkit to someone once in a while, then I don't know how often I feel like this app is overkill. It's where we have this real sharing economy within your group of friends that I think that this becomes interesting. And then there's that trust. Like if we have that social contract between all of us that we're just going to share our stuff with each other and we just need to track where that is, that's fine. But it starts becoming interesting once we're like, well, if you're 3 months late, we're going to charge you for it.
I was just gonna say this is like perfect for me because I do like rent out things, but also sometimes I'll like let people use some of my like film gear stuff for free where they just like need a camera or something like that. And you know, sometimes what you're giving to someone is just at a level of value that you kind of know, like, if they break it, they wouldn't even be able to afford to replace it for you if they don't give it back. So it kind of makes me wonder if maybe a different angle to take here is is basically just saying like, okay, like this is a high value thing that I'm lending you. I just want you to put your credit card like on file for, for this thing, or, almost like it's a deposit and then you get the deposit back once, it's been verified to have been returned by the person who, lent it out.
Yeah. I think it is like a barrier to on-ramp the initial users onto this platform to get that like over that credit card hoop. It would have to be because they already have it on file for whatever reason, or maybe like you would introduce it progressively once you get the initial user base until like that user base churns with a hit on like, oh yeah, validate your profile with your credit card information to be able to actually borrow other people's stuff. Whichever way it's possible, I think like honestly, like I think Neighborly should just like do this. Sorry, Nextdoor. It's called Nextdoor.
Okay, I'll have to check out Nextdoor, but this sounds like a pretty good lower barrier to entry idea that somebody could pick up and maybe build with the fewest resources out of all of the ones that we went through here today. So for that reason, I really, really like this one.